Hey guys, Rochelle here with Amethyst Ascension. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you so much for joining me again. So today I'm going to be talking about how I awaken or how I activate a tarot deck. This is really a beginner-friendly video. So when I bring a new tarot deck into my space, I don't rush it. I don't immediately ask it questions, and I don't treat it like it is only an object. For me, awakening or activating a tarot deck is about relationship. It's about clearing what isn't mine and inviting in a connection that feels honest, compassionate, and alive. So, as I said, today's video, I want to share the 5 things that I do when I awaken a new tarot deck. Not as rules, but as a grounding practice that you can return to and make your own if you choose. So the first part is cleansing and consecration. The very first thing that I do after opening a new deck, tarot or oracle, is cleanse it through smoke. I personally make a consecration incense, and I often use my own homemade kefi. That is what I am using in this particular video. So if you have been curious about kefi, which is an Egyptian like ceremonial incense, ritual incense, temple incense, I actually do have a full series where I walk through creating it step by step. And if I remember, I will link that for you if you want to explore that deeper. With that said, this doesn't have to be complicated. You can use your favorite incense or even a cleansing spray. If you are using a liquid spray, though, just to be mindful, create a soft mist or cloud in the air and then gently pass through your deck rather than spraying directly onto the cards. I also have a video specifically on working with loose incense, which can be really helpful if you are new to smoke cleansing or want to feel more confident working with it. I do this because whether a deck is brand new or previously owned, it still passes through many hands before reaching me or you. The manufacturer, packaging, shipping, mail carriers, and sometimes even customs. This step is about resetting the deck energetically. So clearing anything that it may pick up along the way and bringing it fully into your field of energy. So as I pass the deck through the smoke, I do set clear intention that this deck is cleansed, consecrated, and activated, and to speak only the truth to me and to reveal with compassion. So next, I go through the deck slowly, card by card. This isn't about memorizing meanings, it's about feeling. I take in the artwork, the colors, the symbols, and I notice how each card makes me feel in my body. I pay attention to the texture of the cards in my hands, how they move, how they respond. Sometimes I do this more than once. There's no rush here. This is where the deck begins to introduce itself, not through logic, but through experience. And then I begin shuffling. I let the deck move in my hands. I get familiar with its rhythm and its resistance. I will often reset the deck several times by putting it back in order and then shuffling it again. This is a ritual for me, a grounding, meditative practice. As I reorder the deck, I spend time with the major arcana and then each suit individually. I reflect on how the suits tell their own stories, how they move through beginnings, tension, growth, and resolution. This step is deeply therapeutic, and it helps anchor my relationship with the deck before I ever ask it to speak to me. So once I feel that initial connection, I'll do an interview with the deck. There isn't a single set of questions that I always use. The interview changes depending on how the deck feels to me and what kind of readings that I sense that it wants to do. So some decks feel introspective, some feel blunt, some feel ceremonial, others feel conversational. This is a moment of listening, not control. And this actually ties into something that I'll be talking about in an upcoming video, where I'm going to explore tarot myths that really need to stay in the past. Ideas that can unintentionally create fear or rigidity around a tarot practice. This interview step reminds us that tarot is a relationship, not a superstition. And finally, I read with it. This to me is the most important step. The best way to bond, activate, awaken a tarot deck is to use it. I'll often bring in my spreads decks, shuffle those, and choose spreads that align with the themes revealed during the interview. Sometimes I use familiar spreads, and sometimes something entirely new. But this is where trust forms. Through experience, through repetition, through allowing the relationship to deepen naturally. There are many ways to awaken and or bond with a tarot deck. These are simply the first 5 steps that I return to again and again. Let this be a foundation, not a rule book. Your deck will meet you in the way that feels right for you. And if you'd like to go a little bit deeper, I'll be sharing more soon, including a follow-up video on tarot myths that deserve to be released and why tarot doesn't need fear to be powerful. So listen, practice, and let the relationship unfold naturally and organically. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I am sending you my love always.